Let's get into it. So we're going to be talking about undervalued players in fantasy football. I'm going to give you a quarterback, a tight end, 3 running backs, and 3 wide receivers, all who are being undervalued as of right now in fantasy football drafts. Let's get into it. First guy on my list, quarterback. We're going to start with the quarterback, and that's Cam Newton. So he's already a running quarterback. That already gives an advantage in fantasy football. And after a disappointing 2019 season in which he looked terrible, then he got hurt. New England is just what the doctor ordered to save Cam Newton's career, because if New England can't save Cam Newton's career, nobody can. So the Patriots have already reported that they're confident in Cam Newton's physical condition. Josh McDaniels already went out and said that he's excited to call different plays and find ways to uniquely utilize Cam Newton's skill set, and that's exactly what we need. More running plays, more run design plays for Cam Newton in 2020. That's amazing for fantasy football, because we all know running quarterbacks have an edge to those who can't, because they're going to get a rushing floor on a week-to-week basis, and if they can just kind of get there with their passing numbers, and on top of that, add that to the rushing stats that they're going to get, they're going to be very valuable in fantasy football. So I love Cam Newton in 2020. He's going super late in drafts, in the double-digit rounds. And I think Josh McDaniels knows what he's doing with a quarterback like this. They signed him for a reason. And all this talk about, oh, they're going to use a quarterback rotation. Oh, Jared Stidham might get some play. Brian Hoyer. That's all nonsense. Cam Newton is the starter for the New England Patriots. He's going to get the start week 1. Sony Michel is likely to miss some time going into this season, and that only benefits Cam Newton, because we all know Tom Brady always got those 1-yard QB sneak touchdowns, and those are all going to go to Cam Newton. He's going to rush a lot. That's just the way Cam Newton is. And again, that already gives an upside for fantasy football. We love quarterbacks that can rush with the football. So he's a great spot starter right away. He plays Miami week 1. I love Cam Newton in 2020. All right, so the second player we have on our undervalued list is running back Adrian Peterson. And I know what you're thinking. Terrible team, terrible offense. They're not going to run it a lot. They're going to be down the whole game, so they're going to have to pass it. But a starting running back in the double-digit rounds who will get 15-plus touches a game, I'm all in on that in the double-digit rounds. This is a guy last year who averaged 4.3 yards a carry. And last year, he almost hit that 1,000-yard mark. I think he was at around 900 yards. I could definitely see AP becoming a low-end RB2 this year in fantasy football on those given weeks where he plays the Giants, where he's in the division that plays the Giants. I think he plays the Bengals. In those type of games where it's an Adrian Peterson type of game, he could provide you flex value numbers. And even if he plays a hard matchup, he's going to get that volume, and you can maybe hope for a touchdown. Literally, in the double-digit rounds, there's not much to lose. And in fantasy football, volume is key. Volume is king. And for a player, like I said, who will be receiving 15-plus touches a game, I love Adrian Peterson in 2020. So a starter in the double-digit rounds, even if it's for the worst football team literally, even if it's for the worst football team in the league, give me that. I think, it's not much of an upside play, but it's definitely a great floor play. And for a running back who could be our RB3 the whole year round, who won't have a lot of upside, but he'll have a decent floor, give me that. You need those type of players that are going to produce consistent numbers. And if they get a great week, you could maybe even pop them in the flex spot. So, love Adrian Peterson this year. I think he's a great value in the double-digit rounds. The second running back that we have on our undervalued list is Damien Harris. And like Adrian Peterson, Damien Harris is looking like the starting running back for the New England Patriots. He's gotten a lot of hype in training camp. Reports are saying that he's been getting a heavy workload early in camp. Reports are also saying that he continues to stack good days together. He's getting a lot of hype in training camp. And why is this relevant? You might be asking yourself, wait, isn't Sony Michel the running back for the Patriots? Yes, but he's currently on the PUP list. He's probably going to miss the first 6 to 8 weeks of the season. I wouldn't count on him starting week 1. And who's on this team? Rex Burkhead, injury prone, washed up running back. Lamar Miller just got signed last week. And there's a reason why Damien Harris, the second-year player out of Alabama, didn't really play his first year in the league. They didn't really play last year in his rookie year because it takes time to learn this offense. And I don't think a guy like Lamar Miller is going to come in right away, understand this whole offense, and produce right away. Why would you give a guy who you just signed work when you can give a guy who has a year under his belt of experience in this Patriots system, who was a third-round pick last year and he has that draft capital? I would give that guy the early down work because he's also more talented than Lamar Miller, who is a washed-up running back on the downside of his career. Damien Harris is fresh. He didn't get any work last year. He is fresh, ready to go. He's a pass catcher, and he's just the most well-balanced running back in this Patriots team. And with Sony Michel likely to miss time, I think it's going to be Damien Harris, given the early down work with obviously James White getting some of the pass catching role on those third downs. Love Damien Harris, and he's going even, I think, further behind Adrian Peterson. Again, a guy who's going to be a starter, even if it's for a committee style backfield in the New England Patriots. That's really valuable. And a guy who also has some upside because he's fresh. We don't really know what he's got. He could get a lot of touchdowns. He could be the goal line back on this offense. And given where he's going, he's going to be the starting running back for a team that's not even that bad, and for a team that has some upside with Cam Newton now as their quarterback. So give me Damien Harris all day in the double-digit rounds. A guy who is being extremely undervalued. You know, why not get a starting running back that late in your draft? The last player on my list is Chase Edmonds. Now, Chase Edmonds is probably the most disrespected handcuff in fantasy football. I think if anything were to happen to Kenyon Drake, Chase Edmonds goes in right away as a workhorse running back, a top 10 running back right away. He slides into that role. He's an explosive player, and he's a perfect fit for Cliff Kingsbury's offense. We saw it last year when he played the Giants. He got in that game 27 carries for 126 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 catches for 24 yards. You know, like I said, if anything were to happen to Kenyon Drake, Chase Edmonds goes in right away as a top 10 running back in this offense. He's going to get the work. He's explosive, and he's a perfect fit for Cliff Kingsbury's offense. Love him. He's going super late in the double-digit rounds. And again, if you have Kenyon Drake, he's a must running back that you need to own, because this is a handcuff who, like Alexander Madison, like Latavius Murray, will command a lot of work if the starter goes down. Kenyon Drake, will he get hurt or not? We don't know. But for a guy who has never projected to see this much work coming into a season, I think it's really, really likely that a guy like that gets injured, because he's never seen that type of work, and we don't really know if he can hold up or not. So given a guy like Chase Edmonds, who comes in right away, he's already gotten hype. I think just today, Cliff Kingsbury has said he's a starter caliber running back. So he's going to be put in right away in that offense. And boom, you got yourself a top 10 running back if anything were to happen to Kenyon Drake. That late in drafts, I don't think a running back has as much upside as Chase Edmonds. So again, one of the most undervalued handcuffs, or the most undervalued handcuff in fantasy football. I love him this year. Okay, so this video is going to be way too long if I include my 3 wide receivers and the tight end I'm going to talk about. So I'm just going to split it up into 2 parts. This is going to be part 1. Part 2 is going to come out tomorrow. But guys, if you're not following me on my Twitter, go ahead and do so. I post a lot of great content over there. I give my opinions. You know, I retweet a lot of cool information. If you're just a fantasy nerd like I am, I'm definitely worth a follow. And if you haven't, made a Twitter account just for fantasy, do so. I've learned a lot so far just in my little time that I've been on there. So definitely go ahead and give me a follow, and I'll see y'all later for part 2.